We have a few more games we'll dive into, but one of them that had, a big implication on a team is Old Dominion's win over Virginia Tech, 45-26. Absolutely took it to the Hokies, and honestly, the score makes it look like it was actually closer than it was. 19 fourth quarter points by Virginia Tech makes this a closer game, but it really was never in question. It was 28-0 at halftime, and this is an Old Dominion team that we talked about coming into the year. I talked about how this team could be dangerous, and I thought that last week it was going to be the case. Ultimately, it wasn't, but this is the type of game that this team is capable of producing, and the Sun Belt should be worried about this team. Colton Joseph is a problem, and Virginia Tech will tell them firsthand. Will tell anybody firsthand. He also made a number of big time throws that if he's making those, that's where this team gets really dangerous. And Ricky Rahne deserves a ton of credit for what he has done with this program. He deserves a lot of his dues for the things that they were able to produce. And tonight was a perfect example of this is a team that has the talent to win some of these games, and they have the ability to dominate at times. That's pretty much what it was. Old Dominion was dominating this game. Kyron Drones, even though his stat line looks better now, it was horrendous in the first half. Pretty much all of his production came in the second half. And this is a defense that was making life miserable for Virginia Tech. They did not have an answer, and this group was flying all over the field. Old Dominion was making this an impossible situation for Virginia Tech, and it was a situation where you wondered if Virginia Tech was ever going to score. You didn't have any concerns about what Old Dominion was doing. Again, Colton Joseph was making some throws that he doesn't normally make, and he was making perfect placement passes. He was able to get his guys in position to make plays, and he also was running the offense about as efficiently as you can. And like I said, Ricky Rahne deserves a lot of credit for what this team did. And like I said, coming into the year, this is an Old Dominion team that can do some damage. The pieces are all there. We talked about the transfer portal and how, yes, they lost a couple pieces, but compared to the previous 2 seasons, this is not a group that lost a ton. They did not lose nearly as much as they lost the last couple of years, and that continuity was going to make them a problem. This is a perfect example of that. They have a big win. They're trying to make some noise in the Sun Belt, and this is going to be a great way to do that. This is going to be a perfect way to show, hey, we mean business. We have the right pieces in place, and also we can play for our teammates. Jason Henderson retiring was obviously difficult, and I'm sure that there was an element of let's play for him. Let's get a win for a guy that really put his body on the line for the last few years and now can't do it anymore. And even though he's gone, this defense still had plenty of talent. So it wasn't like they lost this huge piece and they were hopeless. They lost a big piece, but they had a number of other big pieces that can make plays. And this defense was a problem for Virginia Tech. This is a Hokies team that should have had no problem moving the football, but against Old Dominion, they struggled and they were not looking confident. They did not have much going for them until the second half. And really most of that, again, was the fourth quarter towards the end of the game, and they were just trying to move the ball through the air. And if you're Old Dominion, you should feel very confident about that. Now, Ricky Rahne will say, we want to clean up that fourth quarter, right? Giving up 19 points makes this look closer than it actually was. That's a discipline thing. That's something you can fix. And this is a team that should feel really good about what they did. 526 yards of total offense. They averaged 8.5 yards per play. 8.5 against Virginia Tech on the road. Now, if you're Virginia Tech, that's obviously just a sign of where this program's at. That's a sign of how bad things have gotten. And it shows you that, hey, this group of 5 team just came in here and wiped the floor with us. They just took it to us and we had no answer for them. And if you're Old Dominion, you have to find ways to build this into something special. You have the talent, you have the team to do something special this year. You have the ability to win at a level that maybe you haven't before, or that you haven't really before at the FBS level. And Ricky Rahne deserves a lot of credit. He's not going to get recognition for what he's done the last couple years because they've had losing records. But the work that he's done with essentially a new roster was a reason why I thought this team could be good coming into this year. I knew that if he could do that with brand new faces every single week, every single year, then what would he be able to do if he had some continuity? If he had a returning quarterback, if he had returning production on defense? This is exactly it. This is what you should be afraid of if you're in the Sun Belt. And the Sun Belt's about as wide open as it's going to be. Old Dominion is a team that can make a run. Will they? We don't really know. But this is a good example of what can happen for this team. If they play at their potential, if they play at their ceiling, this is a result that can happen. And this is what they can do to pretty much anybody. So if you're Old Dominion, you feel really good. If you're Virginia Tech, it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long one. But if you're Old Dominion, you've kind of just started the excitement. The sky is the limit. And if you're Old Dominion, you feel like you are in a great position to put together something special in 2025.